for updated survey of the property, not GIS maps and old plats. Now, it also says then, the surveyor shall set boundary monuments so that upon completion of the survey, each corner of the property and each reference control station will be physically monumented. Now, this should raise a flag to the map department that it was a new property, no previous reference made to the previous property there, so you would think they would have took a close look at it.
Since no pins were set.
Not changed, so it's over 3 o'clock here.
Can I just say something that's real basic? I was raised pretty strict. My parents taught me if I made a mistake to try and correct it, not to get somebody else to cover it up. I mean, if I did something that was wrong, my mother or my father would make me correct it, not say I made a boo-boo, you cover this up so it's not my problem. It doesn't just boil down to that fact. I mean, you know, everybody makes a mistake. Everybody does. But if it's,
to use a little bit of common sense too, and try to work a solution out that's best for.
it's a house trailer.
Well, you know what makes a difference if it's a house trailer or if it's
It's
built out of gold?
It was just a mistake, though. He's already admitted it was a mistake.
Okay, well, I'm asking, you know what? I'll purchase the property from the county. How's that sound? Does that sound better?
You don't have.
If it wasn't in a road right away, none of us would be here.
You know what?
None of
You
us would
people
be here.
are looking so deep.
Wait. Can I say one more thing? I've been thinking, just one more thing. Mr. Johnson and now Mr. Kessler has called us you people. I'm very proud to be you people. Okay? I want to be you people. Because many, many years ago, there's a document, I'm sure we all know about it, it starts out, we the people. And I'm tired of being called you people. Mr. Johnson said, when are you going to stop these people from progress down here? Well, I think everybody here wants to be part of we the people. So I think we should be heard.
Yeah. I think you have been. And I don't believe there's been a public official here, or here that has ever said you people.
No, you
All
haven't.
right? I have tried to be completely neutral and show what is fair in the situation so that the commissioners have adequate knowledge to make a knowledgeable decision.
You have, and we
You
appreciate
have.
that.
I appreciate
The
that.
point I want to make, when we were down there at that viewing, he kept insisting that we looked at center line over to the river, correct? Now, you notice I pointed out 30 feet from the actual building where the front of my truck would be, and if that was vacated over to the 33-foot mark, that would make it practically impossible to jockey around there. And here again, as it was done at the other end by the Johnsons, yes, Clark would fence to the corner of his property and all. Then we got a problem with him making that corner.
If the upper end of Water Street was not closed, I wouldn't have a problem. But I see no point to have access to go through there. You have access.
People
You
have
don't
to-
have 66 foot of access. You'll have 33.
People have to give you a petition to
Right.
reopen that end of Water Street.
Will that
The
petition be
meeting-
considered?
The final hearing was adjourned to take it under advisement. This is all on videotape, which is illegal under the Ohio Revised Code. Because before that meeting was adjourned, a date in the future to come back to that item had to be set. It was not set.
I don't.
2 years later, the Johnsons come in with a paper, give it to the commissioners that says, if we don't expand the business in 3 years, we'll give it back to the township. No objectors to the original closing of that in Water Street knew anything about that. This is why the law says you have to set a future date to come back to this if you adjourn this meeting right here. You have every right to under the Ohio Revised Code, but you have to set the date for the rest of us to know to come back in the future. And the reason for that is obvious. If you don't do that, we have the back door system. Somebody slips in, gives you a piece of paper, and a motion's made, and it's all done.
We're going to make a decision.
Well,
soon, I hope, because you can beat it to death.
there is another point that if you do vacate this and give this land to him, there's still 20 feet of the trailer out in Water Street that ain't vacated.
No, I
Yes,
don't think
the
so.
length.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
That end of
Show me
Water
where.
Street was vacated
That
years
end
No,
ago.
no, no.
Vacated a long
No,
time ago.
it's vacated
No, no,
from
no.
Henderson, it's from Henderson Street up. The width of Henderson Street's still there, and 20 feet of this trailer is still out in Water Street.
That was pointed out by the, I went right to that lag nail with the can of orange paint right to the trailer, and it was obvious 20 feet or so of that trailer would still be in Water Street right away.
And where you measured to the river wasn't part of being vacated. It's 20 feet from where the vacation ends.
So, Mr. Hunter, your family must have put those outhouses on Henderson Street.
Those were put there sometime before my time, and they were legal at the time.
But that'd been on Henderson Street.
No, that was Water Street.
It's been on Water Street then.
Water Street is the primary original plat. If you want me to dig this all out, we can beat this for another 3 hours. It was the original main street, 66 foot wide.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for your time. I have to go to
Then
another meeting.
then you have Henderson Street, which is a secondary street.
This is more down to the fact that they don't want to see a new restaurant built there.
No one is
The
objecting to the
public, I don't really
restaurant.
gonna, I think the public's really gonna like the commissioners giving away public property for $42,500, which he's already has sold. The gentleman-
Look at the history down there, we've given it away to a lot of you, right?
All
The property that
unincluded.
you closed for us was never ever used.
All-
I use that street every week, okay?
Why did it think we didn't have
goodness.
There again, the Johnson said they opened that alley up.
Let's get back to the purpose.
Could we, one thing, is this, the whole thing boils down to Water Street. Is there some sort of possibility that you'll have some thought about this other petition and let us bring people in? Because there's nobody, the people that just left are the only people that want Water Street closed. The only people in that area.
But we have an agreement that we signed with them in good faith. I plan on honoring the agreement. If they do not do what they told us they'd do in 3 years, then I guess I feel like we can reconsider.
You wouldn't
What happened
welcome
to the
something
original
like that
petition?
down there in
Let
the
me
neighborhood,
say something.
a restaurant, and
No.
I haven't seen the plans or anything, but
I've
you
lived,
wouldn't
I've lived
welcome
there for
something like
32
that.
years, okay?
We see
There's over 80 restaurants in Zanesville. You take the phone book and count them. There's over 80 restaurants. And you're going to tell me with the price of gasoline, there's nothing else in that area. They're going to drive down to that restaurant. Right now he's got a little pizza shop that does pretty well.
It's a nice
He,
place.
It's good pizza.
He
I'll be the first one to
explained
admit
to
it.
us the other day that he didn't need to move the house, but he was going to do that. Is there a possibility that if they move that house, then there's enough room to build this $1 million restaurant and leave the street open?
Who says this is a $1 million?
Huh?
Who says it's
Well,
$1 million?
Dana
He
Johnson.
did. He told us
Dana
before.
Johnson.
And if Dana wants to invest $1 million in Gaysport, then that's his business.
That's
Well,
fine.
how does that help anybody down there?
mean,
I
he
agree
can-
until he
I mean,
starts
he's-
asking
he's gonna
the
put maybe
public
half
to
a
give him
dozen
land.
people
There's gonna be jobs.
Half a dozen?
That's
Taxes
better than none.
generated off.
That's better than none. in
But
my
now,
opinion.
wait a minute, you mean the general welfare and convenience of the public of using a street is superseded to give somebody property to make themselves more profitable?
Superseded by the almighty dollar.
He didn't say anything about, he said about jobs. He didn't say about making somebody more profitable. He said about making.
Here's
Well,
here's
on the
something you
videotape,
gentlemen
Mr.
forget.
Johnson talks about it.
Here's something you gentlemen forget. In order for him to do that, he has to close the existing establishment he has, which is a very nice place and nobody objects to and people come to, that's great. He has to close that for how long while he builds this other establishment and put the people he...
No,
I know,
that's not our problem.
But you said he's going to make jobs. When he is done, where are the facts showing how many more people he's going to employ? What happened? I mean, where's the
The gentleman
data?
didn't come to us asking for a tax abatement like other companies do, that we donate land to do anything to try to bring jobs so that this community flourishes. We do it all the time. And he didn't ask for any kind of tax abatements, hasn't asked for any of these kind of things.
Well,
Are any
that's
of you
because-
gentlemen familiar with Chapter 102, the High Revised Code? It is called the Ethics Act. No public official is to use his position to gain anything of value or take a bribe.
Now, what are you saying
What
there?
I'm saying Mr. Johnson was president of the township trustees when he turned a petition in to get this property. He signed a document to the county engineer's office that they had vacated this alley and or opened the alley up, and vacating that section of Water Street would not affect anyone. Now, that's using his official position to lobby to get what he wants.
That's
Mr.
not
Porter,
a
now
decision we
you
can
were a
make.
trustee, is that correct? Because I know a guy was in it, he knows you, he's in your township. He said you did a fine job and you managed your township well. Is he correct in saying that?
That's debatable.
Yeah. You mean Larson?
Well, I mean, Eric, are you supposed to pull your position to?
No, absolutely
answer
not.
something?
And
Okay.
I don't think, I can't speak for Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson,
Mr.
son
Johnson.
was a
think-
trustee, he signed the
I
petition.
think I started that when I became engineer, okay? Because as a county engineer and the commissioners working together, we can force a street onto a township whether they want to accept it or not.
Believe me, he done it several times out in Perry Township.
And we also can choose to vacate ground, okay, or make that judgment and bring it to the commissioners to have that done. When I became engineer, I wanted the township trustees to be on board. So anytime, before before this vacation, we want the trustees, number one, to be aware of it, and to make sure that they're aware of it, we make them send a letter in.